Juan, I know this isn't down your alley, so I apologize for the subject matter just before we even get off the jump here. Um, you know, I it's the show Cobra Kai on Netflix. Um, I was a big fan of the TV or the movie Karate Kid growing up. I know it's super cheesy and it's kind of like its own niche, like you either love it or hate it kind of deal. There was a lot of good. They ended up making a couple sequels, but the main characters from the first movie are who the show revolves around.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you that don't know about Karate Kid, you know, you have this kid from New Jersey who moves to California. He's the new guy who doesn't really have any friends and he gets picked on a lot at school and he ends up finding this mentor who is Mr. Miyagi, becomes his sensei and teaches him all these things about, you know, washing cars, and he's doing all these chores around his house. And you know, Daniel gets pissed and ultimately he's like, do the wax on wax off, and they're really like, you know, blocking maneuvers, and through these other arts he's teaching fighting in a way that's very natural and flowing, and it's full of all this philosophy and Taoism, and something that I connect with a lot. So it's very entrenched with a lot of deeper meaning. And you know, for me personally, I connected with that when I was a kid. Um, so I was curious to see the show come out because Cobra Kai is the bad dojo in the movies. So they're the guys that are picking on Daniel, and you know, the main girl who's like the love interest of the movie is with Johnny at the beginning. Johnny Lawrence is the main bad guy, this blonde dude. And, you know, the girl's with Johnny, and then Daniel ends up winning the girl at the end. So the way the show goes is it's the main character is now Johnny, and Daniel is the antagonist to an extent. So they took everything and flipped it on its head from the original series. The good guys are the bad guys and vice versa. But they did it in a really well written, well thought out way. And they've stuck to the life trajectory of these characters. So now, like, Daniel LaRusso, who won the karate tournament, has had this upward life trajectory, and now he's this big car dealership owner, LaRusso Auto, and he's like this big rich
That's
guy, and
funny.
like he's got all these billboards around town, and his face is everywhere. And then on the other side of the coin, you've got Johnny Lawrence, and his life has gone completely downhill since you know, we saw them back in their high school days, and he's an alcoholic, and his wife left him, and his kid doesn't want anything to do with him, and it starts from a very emotional kind of place. And I don't want to get into any spoilers or really give anything too much away about the show. And we just finished the first season, so I've only seen the first season. But it was a show that it just kind of, it looks like a goofy knockoff that was like, oh, here was a franchise that was popular in the 80s. Let's reboot it in a TV show and milk it for what it's worth monetarily. But it exceeded my expectations in so many ways. I was just kind of blown away about it. So I had to give a shout out to Cobra Kai. I love what they're doing with that show. I love how they weave in humor, and they they make it entertaining in ways that he has like a new student that he's training, so they bring in a new generation, and there's younger kids, and his, you know, Johnny's kid is involved. So it makes it kind of lighthearted and relevant in that way, but it's also really like, there was one episode where I cried, man. Like, it can get very deep and emotional at the turn of drop of a hat, and it does it in really relatable kind of ways. So I just wanted to get that out there. Like, I love this show. It's way more than I thought it was going to be in terms of deeper meaning. And I think everything that I love about this show is what I hate about the other side that I'm about to talk about.